Hey guys, it's Clay Hayes with twistedstave.com, and today we're going to take a quick look at how to serve a bowstring. Um, so I've got a serving tool here. You don't have to have this, but it sure will make your life a whole lot easier. You can do it by hand, but it's pretty hard on your hands and it takes a long time to do. Once we get the bowstring served, I'm going to show you how to put an adjustable nock on there using cotton thread and some super glue. I serve all my strings with monofilament fishing line. It's very slick and it's very durable. In my opinion, it's probably the best serving out there, and it's cheap and you can find it anywhere. But the good thing about monofilament is when you put that nock point on there, the way I'm going to show you how to do it, you can screw that thing up and down to adjust your elevation on your or your up and down on your nock point while you're tuning your arrows and your bow setup. So let's take a quick look at how to do that. When you first get this thing started, first you got to figure out where your arrow shelf is going to be. You want to come up a little bit above that. Get a couple of wraps. And then this thing, you're going to have to, when you swing it over, it's going to have to overlap one of these strings because you're going to be wrapping back on top of this line that you kind of wrap down the bow, or about down the bowstring. Once you've got it good and started, 8 or 10 wraps, you can unwrap that and give that a little pull, and that'll lock this top end down really good. Now you can take it out of this thing and make it work like this thing's supposed to work. You can just give it a little twirl and it'll wrap around the string. That's the way it's supposed to work anyway. It doesn't always work that way, but when you can get it to work, it works really fast. Let's give it a try. That'll be about right. So now comes the tricky part. Pull you off about, I don't know, 18 inches or so. So I went ahead and just stuck this thing back in the vise to hold it. I'm gonna trim off the tag end of that first piece that we started on. And be careful when you're doing this. You don't want to cut it into the strands of the bowstring. Make sure everything's still good and tight. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to put my finger right here. I'm going to bring the string down this way, and I'm going to start wrapping back through in the same direction that my original wrap was going, but now I'm wrapping back towards the serving itself. Need to do that, make about 8 or 10 or 12 wraps or so. Now we're going to take this tag end right here. We're going to lay it right up against the serving. So this tag end is laid right up against this serving here. Now we're going to take this piece, our loop right here, and we're going to continue on with our serving and wrap over this tag end right there, which is going to secure that in place. And now with this loop here, we're just going to keep wrapping this around in the direction of the serving, which is unwrapping this end. And then basically you end up with just a loop and your tag end right here. You pull that, which pulls that loop down and finishes off your serving. Now you just pull that piece and it locks it down there. Now you have your string served, and that's not going to go anywhere. Let's go ahead and throw our knock point on there. I'm going to go ahead and trim this tag end off real quick. Now to put the knock point on this string here, I've already put my bow square on there. I know about where it needs to be. It's not critical because we're going to be able to adjust it. I'm going to put double my, I just got some cotton string here about, I don't know, 2 feet, 2.5 feet, something like that. I'm going to double it over, put a loop in it, and then I'm just going to loop that onto my bowstring right there. Once I've got that done, I'm going to keep those strings, keep those two pieces of thread together, and just you know, make a couple of wraps. Make about, I don't know, quarter inch or so, 3/8 maybe. Make a nice base. There we go. About a 1/4 inch. Put that in my mouth to hold it there. Now I'm just going to put a little dab of super glue. I don't want to saturate this whole thing. Just put a little dab right there. And now I'm going to come back over the whole thing, go in the opposite direction. Do the same thing, just back it up. And we're slowly just building this thing up. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and saturate this whole thing with glue. And this is the liquid super glue, not the gel stuff. You want the liquid so it'll get down into the fibers of the thread and kind of create just this big solid mass of cotton on your bowstring. And every time I go back and forth, I'm backing up like maybe 2 threads so that it creates kind of a dome shaped instead of a real squared off thing. Go ahead and put a little bit more glue on there. That's basically it. Trim that off. Need a sharper razor blade. Throw a little bit more glue on it on the outside. Now that thing, that knock's going to be there. When this glue dries, you might have to hold the string and twist the knock a little bit to get it to pop loose. But when that thing dries, you'll be able to screw it up and down this serving and adjust your height while you're tuning your bow. When you get that thing set just exactly where you want it, then you can take a little super glue and put on each side of it, and that'll suck up in there and it'll lock it down in place. And that's why we built that base up first without putting any super glue on it, because I didn't want any super glue to go through that thread and get on the serving itself, because I wanted to be able to move this thing around. Comes in really handy. Alright, this thing's dry. One thing you can do if you do happen to get a little bit of super glue down on your string and you have trouble moving, breaking this loose from the serving, you can grab hold to your string with a pair of pliers. Don't squeeze real tight. You know, if you just hold it real lightly, just enough pressure to hold it so it doesn't, so the string doesn't twist, and you can pop that thing loose. This one's already pretty loose, so we don't need that. But basically, you can just hold your string and screw that nock point up and down. I mean, I changed it just in that minute, or those few seconds. I changed it 1/4 inch, you know. You can screw it back up wherever you want it to be. Whenever you finally get it exactly where you want it, just put a little dab of super glue on each side and it'll lock it down and you're ready to go. Well, that's about it for serving a bowstring. Don't forget to pop on over to twistedstave.com. Check out the store over there. Been kind of adding items here and there, so we're starting to build up things a little bit. So keep tabs on it. You never know what you might find in there. We'll see you next time. We got chicken stampede. Look at that. Never know what you might find here either.